Welcome back to State of the Union. I'm Dana Bash. Bill and Hillary Clinton celebrated the former president's 70th birthday this weekend in Martha's Vineyard. And while there are a lot of questions about what role Bill might play if Hillary Clinton becomes the president, we now know one, he won't. The ex-president said this week he will step down from the board of the Clinton Foundation if his wife is elected. The foundation also announced that if Clinton wins, it will stop accepting donations from foreign governments and corporations, a move that even some supporters say should have happened years ago. And joining me now is the Clinton campaign manager, Robbie Mook. Robbie, thanks for joining me. My first question for you is about the Clinton Foundation. It announced on Thursday it will not accept foreign donations if Hillary Clinton is elected president. 40% of the foundation's top donors, those giving more than $1 million, are foreign. So if it's not okay to take this money as president, why was it okay to take it as Secretary of State?
Well, first of all, when the rules were put in place in 2009, they were a big burden on the foundation. And it's important to remember what the foundation does. Over 10 million people around the world get important AIDS medication, life-saving AIDS and HIV medication because of the foundation. The foundation has reduced the cost of malaria drugs by 90%. So this is important life-saving work. And there were some foreign governments like Australia and Norway that had existing donations to the foundation, and the foundation wanted them to be able to follow through on their commitments so that this work could be protected. But it was an unprecedented step they took back in 2009, and the foundation is saying they're prepared to make an unprecedented step should Hillary become president to go even further in terms of disclosure and limits.
But if this is the right policy now, why not do it now? Why wait until the idea of her being president? Why not do it when she is running for president?
Well, the foundation is doing an enormous amount of work, and it takes time when you're in a number of countries around the world to retool, refocus the mission, and adapt. As you said, they receive a great deal of funding through these streams, and it will just take some time for them to readjust. Look, what we're focused on right now is making sure Hillary Clinton is elected president. So nobody wants to get ahead of themselves, but we're glad to hear that they have once again taken an unprecedented step in terms of transparency and rules.
But Robbie, I know you understand this. Part of the issue with a lot of voters keeping her from being president, keeping voters from going into the booth and voting for her, is they think that that there are lots of questions about the integrity or honesty of her experience in politics, and that this is one of them. So considering that, why not, if you're going to take this step, do it now to make clear that there is no issue here with her accepting foreign donations or others from people who might be trying to affect her and trying to get around giving it to the campaign the way anybody else would?
Well, what the foundation did was unprecedented, as I said, and what they're going to do is going to be unprecedented as well. You talk about transparency. Donald Trump hasn't released his taxes. Donald Trump hasn't released a serious health letter yet. Donald Trump refuses to disclose the full architecture of his financial debts and obligations around the world. We just read yesterday in the New York Times that that he is a debtor to the Bank of China.
But Robbie, I asked about Hillary Clinton, not Donald Trump. Well, we're going to talk later about that.
Well, but my point is that there's all this scrutiny because Hillary Clinton has been transparent. I don't think you heard these questions when members of the Bush family continued to serve on boards for the first President Bush's foundation. So as I said, the foundation is taking unprecedented steps here. We're very proud that they're doing that. But right now we're focused on making sure Hillary Clinton becomes president and letting the foundation do the retooling that they need to do.
A new batch of State Department emails were released last week showing Doug Band, a counselor to the Clinton Foundation, asking Clinton advisors Huma Abedin and Cheryl Mills, who were both State Department employees at the time, for a, quote, favor. And he forwarded an email from a Clinton Foundation donor and told them it was important to take care of the request. And Huma wrote back, and here's what she said. We've all had him on our radar. Personnel has been sending him options. Is this the kind of back scratching that has Americans just turned off and done with people who have been in Washington a long time?
Well, first of all, Dana, the email in question from Doug Band was coming from his private email account. It had, or his Clinton.com email account. It was not related to the foundation. And the foundation at every step, or rather, excuse me, the State Department at every step was following all the appropriate protocols. This was someone who had a relationship with the Clintons long before Hillary became Secretary of State.
But Doug, excuse me, but Robbie, the issue is not so much where the email is coming from, it's the request in general and who the request is going to, right?
Well, again, this is someone who had a long-standing relationship with the Clintons, who had wanted to provide some insight into a matter, and obviously the Clintons have staff that facilitate those sorts of communication. But there was no quid pro quo or anything like that here. And as I said, the email was originated from President Clinton's private office.
A federal judge on Friday ordered Hillary Clinton to provide written testimony about her private server. You're going to get the questions by October 14th, and you're going to have 30 days to answer them. So theoretically, you won't have to answer the questions until after the election. You were just talking about transparency and how transparent Secretary Clinton has been. Given that, in the name of transparency, will she work to produce those answers and make them public before the election on November 8th?
Well, as you mentioned, the judge has set a deadline whereby the group in question needs to submit those, and when they're received, I know that the Secretary will get to work right away on answering them. You know, but let's step back and look at the origin of all of this. The right wing and Republicans in Congress are not satisfied with the answer that the career professionals at the FBI and the Justice Department gave. They said there was no case here. This is just another example of a right wing group just trying to keep the questions coming and keep this issue alive. The American people have all the information. The emails have been released. They have enough to make a judgment at this point. We at the campaign just want to move on and talk about the issues that people actually care about in this election, like jobs, college affordability, and health care.
That sounds like a no.
As I said, as soon as she receives the question, if the judge asks her to answer those questions, she will get to work right away on getting those questions answered.
You are facing an incredibly delicate task. You are looking for somebody to play Donald Trump in mock debates for Hillary Clinton's debate prep. Somebody who is going to bring up some topics that your candidate probably would rather forget. Have you settled on that person?
Well, we haven't yet. It's very hard to find someone to mimic the reckless temperament and the hateful instincts and divisive instincts of Donald Trump. Preparing for a debate with him is a challenging task, but Secretary Clinton is looking forward to the debate. I think you'll see a real difference between steady leadership and a very reckless temperament. Is
it that, or is it finding somebody who knows Hillary Clinton well, who's willing to say some pretty tough things to her?
She's been in this game a long time. She's had a lot of tough things said to her. That's not the challenge here. The challenge is finding someone who can recreate the kind of reckless temperament, the kind of hateful language and divisive language that's become Trump's hallmark. But we'll get it done. We're looking forward to the debates.
Robbie Mook, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thanks so much.